All right, so we're live. Good evening, everyone. This is Ethan Evans. I'm the Easy Coach, and tonight we're going to talk about winning job search. So, winning job search, if you don't have to search for a job right now, good for you. I hope you listen anyway because sooner or later you're going to have to. And the time to start your job search is long before you need to. And so we'll talk about that some tonight. Quick background. Oh, hey, all of Shadow Fox's followers are here. I love the Fox Den is on. Welcome, Fox Den. Thank you all for coming. So let me just welcome them in real quick. Yeah, so I picked the polo shirt tonight. It's too hot to wear my usual button down. So maybe we'll make it a tradition. So maybe we'll make it a tradition and at least for the summer, go to short sleeves. Anyway, tonight we're going to talk about winning job search. And look, everybody's going to need to look for a job at some point. Some people need to look for a job right now, and we'll talk about that. But the time to start your job search is before you're desperate for a new job. So, like, this is the time. Start building your network. And we're going to talk about that right now. So a little bit about the show though before I do. This is for anybody new, and welcome if you are new. This is a Q&A based show. So what we do is you should see an extension on your screen, or the moderators will pop up the link, assuming that the chat bot's live. They'll pop up the link to our Q&A widget and how it works. Let's see. It's looking like maybe not. Anyway, let me see if I can get it. There we go. All right. So if you want to ask questions, you do it in the over the video panel or through the web page that's linked there. The web page works better for mobile, and we vote from there. Enter your questions. The moderators will approve them if they're on topic. I don't answer questions about Twitch or Amazon most of the time. I'm here speaking for myself and not here to talk about Twitch or Amazon policy, etc. So with that in mind, what we're going to talk about today is finding a job. But you can enter your questions, and please vote. Voting is free. Vote on any question you like. That lets me know what the audience wants to talk about. So today, I'm going to talk about winning job search, and I have a prop with me, and I'll talk about this more, but it's the book, What Color is Your Parachute? And some of you may have never heard of it, probably most of you have never heard of it, but this is the Bible, in my opinion, on how to find a job at any stage in your career. Hey everybody, good to see you. Think Banhammer, glad you're here. Hephaestus, coffee, and I see some people have the book. I should really finish the book. Yep. So this guy just died actually at the age of 90. But he wrote a new version of this book every year for 40 years. Super impressive guy, was educated at MIT as an engineer, became an Episcopal priest, and then spent 40 years teaching people how to find jobs, somewhere between doing those other two things. I'm going to go through this book and talk about what I've learned out of it and what I think everyone should do. But if you want the 300-page version of this talk, buy the book. And I'll throw up the link in a little bit. Well, let me do that now. Here, we'll do it real quick. Let's see. We pop that on, and now it's over top of my face, which is fine. So the book is here, What Color is Your Parachute? And there's the actual book linked on Amazon. So it's 15 bucks, and you can get it free tomorrow. So there you have it. All right, cool. Let's see. Let me take that down and we'll jump right in. All right, cool. So look, the number one thing, and you start putting your questions in. Once there's a good list, I'll switch to audience questions, which I love. Your library has it. Yes, feel free to borrow it. You don't need to get it from me. And I see a bunch of people have started voting up questions, which is awesome. So I'll jump to those soon. Look, the number one thing the book makes a point about is it says job search is a matter of effort. And the more effort you put in, the faster it will go. So let's say it's going to take you 500 hours to find a job. If you do that 50 hours a week, you're done in 10 weeks and you have your new job. If you do that 5 hours a week, it's going to take you 100 weeks and you're going to be at it for 2 years. So a lot of networking for a new job is how much effort you put into it. And the good news is a lot of that effort, maybe all of it, almost all of it, can be put in before you ever need to find a job. And we're going to talk about that. So let's see. Our first question here, which will pop up in a second, is about LinkedIn. And my main point tonight, besides put in the effort in your job search, don't lay around waiting for people to call you back on resumes, that will never happen, is build a network. And so since we have a question about LinkedIn, let's go ahead and talk about LinkedIn for a little bit. So mods, go ahead and pin that. The questions will pop up over my head. Dylan Fee, thank you for following. And I see Enjoyable Gaming, welcome in. A bunch of people in the chat, thank you. As always, feel free to comment in chat. So questions should pop up over my head here in a second. There we go. So what is the best way to contact someone working at a company that I would like to work at via LinkedIn? How do I go from a chat setup from LinkedIn to them helping me get a job at that company? How should I structure the talk with them? So the first thing I was looking for, and by the way, in chat there, Holtz Live, thank you very much for the compliment. I'm excited for my channel to blow up too. Hopefully in a very good way eventually. But we're doing it the old-fashioned way, not cheating to make it bigger. So as viewers find us, we appreciate it if you enjoy this content, recommend it to your friends, and let me help them, because that's what I'm here to do. If you haven't seen it on my website, I think the moderators already put the link to the website there. I say on there, my goal here is to share the experience I've gotten the hard way in 25 years of leadership and executive work with you for free. That way you can go faster in your career than I did and suffer less, because I'm not really into you suffering. And so look, I want you guys to benefit from the missteps I made. Going back to this question, first thing is, if you don't have a LinkedIn account and you're not building a network there, and you want to work particularly in the professional world, you need to do that. LinkedIn is where professionals form their network and keep track of their contacts. Most people in LinkedIn, if they know you or work with you, will accept a link and you build up a network there. So before I started the Easy Coach, I probably had 17 or 1,800 contacts in LinkedIn I had built up over my career. And then through the Easy Coach, about another 500 have joined over the last 6 months. So I've been on LinkedIn something over 10 years. And I guess I've got 2,300 people or thereabouts I'm connected to. So if I ever needed a job, number one, I probably know someone at any company I'd want to work at least know them in the LinkedIn sense. And number two, I've got that big network I can put my resume out to and get a lot of attention. So recommendation one is simply use LinkedIn. Now answering this question, what is the best way to contact someone working at a company I would like to work at via LinkedIn? Well, the closer you are to them, the better. So if you're directly connected, even if you haven't talked to them in a long time, reach out to them. If you're not directly connected, I would try to invite them and see if they would connect. And I just send them a message that says, look, I'm interested in working at your company, or I'm interested in your company. Could we connect? And give them a reason or ask them a question. But basically, you want to ask them. You can ask them directly for help getting a job. I get inbound requests all the time for help, some of which I respond to, and because I get so many, some of which I don't. But I try to help people if they're qualified, or I give them some advice and point them to someone else. The point, and yeah, a lot of people on LinkedIn chat says, have a note that says, I'm hiring for X. So if you're going in with a cold message, though, ask them a question about their work. Ask them what they're looking for. Hiring managers like to be asked what they need, not what you do. So when I'm telling my managers how to write a job description, I don't tell them to list what we need, because that's not interesting to you as a candidate. I tell them to write what you will get to do. So if you're going to work on one of my teams and my team has written the job description right, it will say you're going to join the team and you'll have the chance to contribute to this project, which will have this impact. So it's about what you're going to do. Well, if you're contacting someone via LinkedIn, you need to turn that around and not say, look, my name's Lisa and I'm a designer and I need a designer job. I want a UX job. Instead, you say, hey, I come from a design background. I'm really interested in what kind of challenging design problems your company has, because I'm trying to figure out if I could help with them. And so hiring managers are happy to describe what problems they have. Like, that's easy for them. Asking them to get you a job, no. But then once they've told you what problems they have or who can tell you, you can also say, look, can you point me to a designer? Let's use the example of a designer. Can you point me to a designer, and ask them, then ask them to introduce you and say, look, I'm trying to learn more about the design challenges. And then once you know the challenge, you can say, oh, I worked on a project like that in college. Or, hey, I worked on something like that. Do you think I could help? Or could you take a quick look at my portfolio on that project? So the point of this is, don't just immediately ask for a job. Ask about their problems, because everyone's happy to share with you their challenging problems. Not everyone is happy to share with you whether or not they want to hire you or help you get hired, but if you engage them positively, they will. So, by the way, the Rex 243 is here every week, and he's the most enthusiastic I know in terms of applying the advice from this channel, or saying he is. So look for him in the future. He's probably going to be a CEO somewhere. So anyway, and this week, we learned last week that 2 glasses of wine during a show is too much. So this week, we have 1 glass of wine and 1 glass that I swear is water. All right, so we're gonna test, 3 glasses this week. Well, we'll see. I'm doing a show tomorrow night and also Thursday. We'll talk about those later. And those are shorter, so maybe we can drink faster on them. All right, so I think I've covered this one pretty well, but LinkedIn is amazing. And actually, if you read this book, it's been updated since when I first read it, and I think like chapter 9 or something is called something like Google is your new resume. And I would really say LinkedIn is your new resume. It's chapter 7, Google is your new resume. And they're talking about how everything you do can be found online. By the way, I've said this before on another show. We had a candidate that we were about to hire. We were sitting on the fence whether or not to hire him, executive candidate. I Googled him while we were discussing it. Yes, purple everything. Well, when you work at Twitch, you get a lot of purple stuff. And I I have a whole closet full of purple stuff, and it's actually falling onto the floor. Yes, I have nothing in earth tones. It's all purple, black, and gray. So anyway, LinkedIn is your new resume, but we Googled this guy, and we found that he had badmouthed his previous company after leaving. So that was it for him. So literally, bad mouthing his previous company cost him a job, doing it in public. All right, new question. Any tips for someone just entering the workforce but is more of an introvert? So Chad will have to sound out on this one because I know there's a couple of strong introverts in the audience, and I welcome their input because we have a long, ongoing argument about me, which is, am I an introvert or an extrovert? Um, and I won't go too much into that. You guys can decide. I'm what they call an ambivert. I sit in the middle. I do not like working a cold room with people I don't know. If you drop me into a party, I like to stand against the wall and wait. But I don't mind talking all the time. Um, I don't mind talking to people once I know them. And I love to talk to people in a context like this where I have something to share. So, my point there that's useful to you is even introverts uh, can be comfortable in certain circumstances. And so you're going to need to find what circumstances can you have successful social interaction that are comfortable for you. And interviewing can be very hard in that sense because if you're an introvert, I've talked about this in interviewing before. We're really here about job search, but when you need to interview, it is about human interaction. The way you interact with your interviewer is hugely influential. And in fact, a lot of good science. This is a little bright. I'm going to just turn that down a bit. There we go. All right. So, anyone who's an introvert, oh, yeah, that's much nicer. Anyone who's an introvert, you're going to have to be able to influence successfully in your interview because people will rule you out, unfortunately, based on their interaction. There's good evidence that what people do is they shake your hand, they size you up, their lizard brain makes up their mind whether or not you're part of their tribe, and then they spend the next 45 minutes or an hour feeling like they're getting data, but really just reaffirming their opinion. Getting more and more comfortable because once you decide what you want to find in someone, it's really easy to find. And so that first impression does matter. Now, if you're an introvert, I just gave you really bad news. But I see 40 Pink Dragons here. Interview equals being very, very prepared. That's right. Don't get thrown off your game because if you're already managing your energy to interact with someone, thank you for the follow, Rustum MS. If you're already managing your energy to interact successfully with the person, you don't want to be caught unprepared. And at this point, Glassdoor, Google, Blind, if you can get in it, will tell you what kind of interview questions the company asks, what to expect. Or if you've networked in through LinkedIn, the previous point, you'll have someone who can explain the interview to you. And at that point, you're prepared. This reminds me, I'm going to make 2 points before we go on to the next question. Number one, part of the point of networking is to get referred in. I have some friends who've been looking for jobs for a long time. They're trying to switch careers, and so they're trying to switch fields, and so they're having trouble getting companies to see them in a new light. Switching fields that way is hard. And one of my friends who's been on the channel before, Steve Day, I don't know if he's here tonight, he's said a few times, hey, I don't even get a call back if I'm not referred in. 0% of the time. You need that reference to make sure you get called back. But at the same time, that reference should be able to explain the interview process to you. And every company interviews a little bit differently. And so you want to know what to expect in the interview so that you can be pacing yourself to it and not be surprised. For example, some companies do multi-person interviews or panel interviews. This is not common anymore, But if you're going to end up walking into a room where 3 or 4 people are going to fire questions to you at once, you damn well want to know. You don't want to be blindsided by 3 or 4 people hammering away on you. Similarly, you want to know, is HR going to be on the loop? Do they pre-screen? Do they have tests? You want to know all these types of things in advance, and that comes from networking in. All right, cool. Last thing is interviewing as an introvert. I would consider, if someone seems to be reacting to you poorly, just go ahead and be honest. Tell them, hey, I'm a little bit quieter. I tend to think more. Hang on just a second. Or get used to managing that energy with others. Set their expectations. Don't just sit quietly while you think. Say, hey, I'm thinking about that. Give me a minute. Or I want to give you a thoughtful answer. Give me just a minute. All right. Let's see. We covered networking. It does bring up a question, though. I love audience interaction. We've got almost 80 people here, which is a great show. Thank you all for being here. How many of you are looking for jobs right now? And what are you looking for? So sound off in chat, because I said you should network. Part of networking is taking advantage of every opportunity to connect with other people who can help you. And you've got 80 people right here and an offer to spam chat with what you'd like. And then the other people who are looking for jobs or may know a place that's hiring, you can say, hey, my company is hiring for X, or we're hiring for Y, or you should check out this place. So we can use chat right now as our own private Easy Coach job board to help each other out. You can also use whispers and talk to each other offline if you think someone can help you. So this is your chance. And the other thing that chat's helping out here, I'm reading chat over in the other windows while I'm looking off camera. With all of you who are looking for jobs, you can feel good about the fact you're not alone. Yeah, Discord would be great for this. We do have Discord. One of our moderators can talk about it. There's the link. And yes, you're absolutely right. Feel free to connect on Discord and talk about it. We might need to create a job hunting channel or career channel. Shadow Fox is also our Discord moderator. Yep, there. She beat me to it. We can create a channel for you guys. All right. She's awesome. Here's to having great mods. All right. So, look, and I see the mods have popped up the next question. I'll get to that in a minute. Oh, look at that. Job hunting channel created. So, if you don't know what Discord is, I know not all of you are Twitch natives. Someone can talk you through it in chat, or you can Google it. Oh, thanks a bunch, Solarin. Very much appreciate the cheered bits. Many of you know my team built the bits product a few years ago, so I always love to see them used. Thank you very much. Everything here goes to support Washington Trails Association, where I'm on the board, or the cost of the fancy streaming setup. We'll probably never pay that off, but that's okay. I appreciate the chance to support a good charity. So anyway, we'll jump to the next question, but I love the fact that you all joined in and said what you're looking for. And the thing I want to comment on is job hunting can be lonely. And again, the book has a section on managing your emotions in a job hunt, because getting rejected for a job is pretty personal, and getting turned down can be pretty personal, and yet it's not necessarily about you. So, all right, very good. Let's see. Question is, I am mid-career and have progressed quickly. How do I get over the years of experience or age hurdle for new employees to get a job at the same level? For new employers to get a job at the same level. Okay. So I experienced this. So story time for a second, and then we'll answer. Some of you have heard this before. I took my first job, and about 6 months into it, the guy in front of me, I got what I call a Klingon promotion, which means the The management took him out, and suddenly there was a vacancy, and they said, "Hey, Ethan, you're going to do this now." And so I rose very quickly because I went basically to a lead engineer role 6 months into the job, and I was working with a partner as kind of a technical program manager in the same way. And I see someone else, Drino, said same thing happened to him. Yeah, well, I hope you're on the good side of that knife, because it was a little brutal for my friend. We're still friends, but he kind of got pushed aside. So look, first thing is detail what you've learned. Second thing is, if you have to, I wouldn't normally recommend this, but pull your graduation date off your resume to make it ambiguous how long you've been out of school. Now, I normally recommend against that because if you pull your graduation date off, what people will think is that you didn't finish school. Like if you say, "Oh, I went to the University of New Mexico" with no date, they think you didn't graduate. Not, "I graduated in 2012." But if your mid-career and have progressed quickly, turn it into an asset. I would actually say, like I would title my resume or my cover letter, "High growth fill in the blank." I don't know what you do, whoever asked this question. "High growth software engineer with track record of rapid advancement seeks blah, blah, blah." So you can put it right in the headline and own it. As opposed to it being a liability, turn it into an asset and say, "Look, high performing or whatever, high growth engineer," I'm trying to think, lawyer, fill in any field, "with track record of rapid advancement, seeks next challenge." That's bold, right? You frame it as seeks next challenge or seeks next step. Now, you do want to make sure that what they don't get from that is high growth lawyer, shameless mercenary, looking to exploit your company for 18 months and move on. So wording matters and how you present it matters, but you can wordsmith that offline. But that's basically how I go about it. And look, being young is an asset generally in job search. Now, being super young, I mean, I guess looking like, you might still be in high school if you're looking for a professional post-college job can be a challenge. But I'll tell you honestly, I started to go gray at 40 or 41, and I dyed my hair for like 8 years because where I was I was at Amazon, and I just felt being gray and 40 wasn't going to work to my advantage. So I kept my hair dark until just about a year ago when I finally said, "Okay, I've done what I wanted, and I'm now focused on other things." And so if people don't like the fact I'm gray haired, well, tough. But I got to a position where I was comfortable with that. So I think generally, if you're mid-career and have good experience, that's an advantage. The point I'm making is treat things as an advantage and try to own them as an advantage. Yeah, boomer acceptance. It is. I had to get over it. I'm just glad to have a lot of hair. If it has to be gray, that is way better than the other choices. And I do think Amazon helped make my hair gray. I will comment. Some of you have heard before. My work week's about, not including streamings, about 60 hours. And it's been that way for 10 years. That's the executive life. You don't necessarily have to live it. But yeah, bald bros get through on shine alone. Well, look, particularly if you're bald or if you can shave. I had a boss, perfect cue ball. It can be an attractive, powerful look too. All right. Let's see. Let's move on to the next question. So while we do that, while the next question pops up, we'll have fun for a minute. Every week, and we're at the halfway point in the show, I ask the question of the week. And the question of the week is off topic. And that question we take from a guy named Arthur Aaron. And Arthur Aaron had this thesis that we're testing here in the stream. And the thesis was, hey, he had this bet that if people shared the answers with each other to progressively more personal questions, they would form relationships. And so he had this experiment where he showed if people answered these 36 questions with each other, they would generally walk out of the room friends. Um, and yeah, we'll get the Discord link made a command, as Shadow Fox says. We're a little bit slow on that. Got to update the chat bot. But in the meantime, we're on week 4, and question number 4 from his list. We've answered all the others, but everybody can answer this in chat, so get ready. Only followers can, because we're in follower-only mode. But if you haven't followed, please do. Is what would constitute a perfect day for you? So if you could have any day, what is a perfect day for you? So I thought about this. I'll share my answer while people pop off in chat, and then we'll go back to the topic. A perfect day for me is outside. I am an outdoors person. I grew up on a farm. I grew up being outside, and I don't like it too hot, so 70s. And I like to be doing something active. And part of the reason for that is I'm hyperactive. And part of the reason for that is I like to eat. And the more I do, the more I get to eat or drink. So some of you know this. I have to find the picture I can put on stream. I've shared it before. I grew up a Midwest farm boy, very heavy. My family was extremely big. And so I grew up about 70 pounds heavier than what you see now. And so for me, a day has a lot of activity, so I stay fit because for 25 years I've lost the weight and kept the weight off, and I'm never going back, God willing. So, what's your perfect day? My perfect day, 70 degrees, going for a hike, going for a swim. This weekend, my family and we floated down the Yakima River, so we threw inner tubes in the river and floated for a couple hours. Just chatting, splashing each other, having a good time, talking. A lot of you know Awesome Dave, our producer. His wife Phyllis, who's sometimes in the channel, may not be here tonight. She made sangria, and she accidentally doubled up the amount of coconut rum in it. So as we floated, we floated. So that was my perfect day. That's my idea of a perfect day. I'm going to check chat, and then we'll go back to the topic. Is this the 36 questions? To find, yes, big bolters, yes, it's the 36 questions that work with friends and love. That's right. Hiking and rock climbing followed by a beautiful winery. Not a bad call. I have found most of my jobs from unofficial gatherings. I agree with that. Back on topic. Getting up in a comfortable bed, yes. Taking a show, going outside for a walk, in the mountains. Yeah, the Rex is in Hamburg. I don't know, Rex, you should tell us. Are you native German? Because you have this idea, my German's terrible, but wandern in den Bergen. So the Germans actually invented hiking in the mountains as a prescribable form of health care. You can actually, and this is fantastic, makes me sad that my parents were German, my ancestors, but I'm not. I'm a blend. I'm in a classic Heinz, but I am not from Germany. You can actually get a doctor to prescribe time off from work for you to hike in the Alps. At least that's what I've been told. And that sounds fantastic. No, Hamburg's flat. That's true. So anyway, a bunch of good people here in chat. Racine, who's saying double steel tanks. She at one point was my dive instructor. Taught me how to chase lobsters in the extremely cold water off Boston. That's a good day too. All right. Enough fun. We'll go back to business. What are some unconventional ways to find job leads? Wow, that list is unlimited. This has a huge list in it. What are some of my favorite unconventional ways? So there's telling all your friends. There's basically telling people you wouldn't think can help you because it's like the 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon. You're trying to get the word out that you need a job. There are other unconventional ways to find jobs, though. One of the ones the book claims, and I truly believe this, is small companies have fewer gatekeepers. And you can actually test the thesis, just walk in the front door and ask if they need you or how to apply or if they're looking for someone with your skills. Small companies, you can go meet the receptionist if they have one or knock on the door and talk to the founder and have a direct conversation right there. And in fact, it blew me away. I was reading this book in preparation for this show. Yeah, I actually prep quite a bit for the shows. And I'm going to find this now because it's chapter 3, the best and worst ways to look for jobs. And I'm going to see if I can find the stat. But it actually claims that walking in the door, here we go. It's number 10 on page 30 in the 2019 edition. Knocking on the door of any employer, office, or manufacturing plant. This method works 47% of the time. It works best with small employers, 25 or less. And I believe its grammar's wrong here, right? It should be 25 or fewer. Anyway, that's that whole argument about how many items can you take through the express checkout lane in the grocery, right? And the answer is go to an Amazon Go store and just walk out. But as you might have guessed, sometimes you blunder into a place where a vacancy has just developed. One job hunter knocked on the door of an architectural office at 11 a.m. His predecessor had just quit at 10 a.m. in the morning. If you try this method and nothing turns up, you broaden your definition of small employers to 50 or less. I think that's probably the best unconventional advice. It takes guts. It takes, it's going to be hard for our introvert who asked earlier to do this, but I've talked about on the show before, if you haven't seen it, check out the book Rejection Proof. Let's see if I can find this here real quick. I'll do an Amazon search. Because, of course, I'll do an Amazon search. Where else would I look? All right, here we go. And we'll bring this up. I'm not going to bother to move out of the way, so it'll be over my face for a second. Deal with it. Damn it. There we go. Okay, here we are. So here it is. All right, I lied. I can't stand that. I'll peek around the corner. So Rejection Proof, how I beat fear and became invincible through 100 days of rejection. This guy did exactly that. One of his, you can read about the book, check it out. He basically, he set out to get rejected for 100 consecutive days because he didn't deal with rejection well. If you're an introvert, that's a great way to have no fear. I see T Weirdo is saying no fear. And the Rex says his YouTube channel has all 100 challenges videotaped. But one of the things he did was try to get a job on the spot. And so he walked from company to company to company asking for a job. His particular twist that made sure that it made no sense at all is he was asking for a one-day job. I just want a job for a day. And he eventually talked some company into hiring him for a one-day job on the spot walking in. I don't think it's potentially dangerous unless I missed what you're doing. Oh, but some of the things in Rejection Proof, yes. He never talks about having gotten his ass kicked, which is actually revealing, because some of the stuff he did, it definitely took the risk. Can we watch one of those vids? Yeah, maybe sometime we'll pull one up for another show. Not going to do it right now, but it's a good idea. All right. So that's some unconventional ways. I could talk about this all night, but we have other questions in the queue. So let's roll on. And look, take that list of different ways to find jobs and don't be shy about trying different things. If it's not working, try something else. All right. Yeah, and Weirdo says introverts probably have a better chance of talking to someone. That's true. If you come in and you're too loud and brash, you'll put some people off. Humility, which introverts being quiet are often confused, rightly or wrongly, with being humble, can be a powerful attractant. All right. How do you get ahead of internal referrals, especially if they put you on the waiting list until they look at all the internal candidates? Well, uh, referral again. First, not all companies do that. Um, a lot of companies do hire internal, but if they're only hiring internally, it probably means they're a no growth company. So um, it probably means that they're not growing very quickly and they're just moving people around when people die or retire. And that would not be my favorite place to look. However, even at a growth company like an Amazon, we value internal candidates because they're proven quantities and they have relevant skills and they're usually available faster. They don't have to give notice, they don't have to relocate in the same way, and you're pretty sure they're actually going to show up. One of the lowest style moves you can make is accept a job and then not show up. It doesn't happen very often, but it does. Um, how to get ahead though? Number one, and two, and three, and four, unfortunately, is network. Get to the hiring manager. Get to the person referring you. This is actually an important tip I haven't come to yet. If you're going to use LinkedIn to find someone to refer you into a company, or if you're going to call a friend or go in through LinkedIn or any other networking method you can find, you can go in through Facebook, any way that you can find someone who knows someone there. Don't talk to human resources. Try to get to the hiring manager or someone on that team or someone in that org. Try to have a conversation with them uh, so that they know you and want to talk to you. Um, Look, the simple fact is people feel a responsibility to follow up with the friends of friends. So if you can get referred in by somebody, I may actually not think you're a great fit, but I will at least talk to you if you're referred by one of my trusted advisors or people in my network, or I'll get back to you or look at your resume because not because I know you or care about you, but because I know and care about the person who referred you. So that gets you your chance, and that's how you get in front of internal candidates. So, yeah, go to your friends' party, work parties, and networking. Totally true. Basically, I'm Rob says, I've seen a video about this on YouTube. Try to skip HR and go directly to the person who makes the decision. Absolutely true. HR never hired anyone. People have this idea that I mean, I guess I'll take a step back, right? HR may hire people at warehouses and mass production where they want lots of people in low skill. Human resources may hire. But other than that, and this book talks about it, I keep referring to it because this is the Bible. Um, uh, the book talks about human resources exist to screen you out. Recruiters exist unless you're a highly sought after professional. They exist to screen you out. They're trying to figure out how to weed you out of the massive amount of applicants. So, what's the book? The book is What Color is Your Parachute, the 2019 edition by Richard N. Bowles. I'll bring it up real quick again. I changed the search screen. Anyway, that's the book. Best book I've ever seen on how to find a job. And pretty much if you follow it, you're going to do well. I can't guarantee you a job, but I think you will. Take a quick pause here. I've given you some advice on this question. I'll answer it a little more and we'll move on. But keep voting. Keep entering questions in the overlay because we're getting down towards the end of the questions that have a lot of votes. And that's how I know what you want to talk about. So we've got the extension on the web. We'll bring up the link again in chat for anybody who wants to ask a question. And fantastic. All right. My CEO taught me when screening people out to take half the pile of applicants and throw that in the trash because we don't. Oh my God, that's horrible. But I don't doubt you. Um, that may be the worst thing I've ever heard, but I don't actually doubt that. Because sometimes when we have a job, I recently hired internally someone, and I wrote a job description that people were very interested in, and I was inundated. And I ended up telling people very quickly, hey, I've got five, you're qualified. You seem like a great candidate. Unfortunately, I have five people who are more qualified in the queue ahead of you, and I don't want to waste your time or mine. I'm going to go through them, and if for some reason that's not a match, I'll be happy to talk to you later, but I can't right now. And I was turning away people who probably could do the job because I had other people I felt could do it better. All right, next question. I'll go ahead and read it while the mods bring it up. Any advice for handling the constant rejection of job search? It's getting to me. Okay, let's see. Since I'm quoting chapter and verse from this book, I'll say a little bit about that. But yes, it sucks, okay? And try and be tough. Where is this? Finding a mission. Okay. In this book, they have a section called the Orange Pages, and it's Appendix B, page 287, A Guide to Dealing with Your Feelings While Out of Work. Rejection sucks. See the thing on rejection proof, the book we just brought up a few minutes ago. If you're dealing with rejection, go try rejection proof, because his point was that guy wasn't looking for a job. He was looking for funding for his startup. But he got turned down for funding, and it crushed him so bad, he realized, wow, I suck at rejection. So the book there, I'll bring that one back up because I think I still have the window up. Let's flip over. Is Jia Jiang and Rejection Proof, this book here. So Rejection Proof, How I Beat Fear and Became Invincible. Try that book and try watching him on YouTube. Because he's got his 100 videos of what he did. All right, anyway, realize that, number one, your job is not your self-worth. And I know this is, look, in America in particular, we identify ourselves by our jobs. People meet at a party and they say, hey, I'm Fred, what's your name? Oh, hi, Andrea. What do you do? First question we ask. And it can be really awkward if you don't have a good answer. Oh, I'm between jobs. Like, it's a tough answer. Let's see. So, 10 things we can do to deal with our feelings when we are unemployed. Catch up on sleep. Good advice. Actually, being rested is true. You can make yourself more physically fit. Focus on other people. That's a good one. There's always someone who's having it harder than you. And while you don't want to glory in their misery, realizing that if you do have a roof over your head and friends around you and your health, you're doing pretty well. Just go find a sick person and a really sick person, and you'll suddenly feel a lot better. Look, recognize that you will get another job, and it's a matter of effort. Put in the effort. We have some people here in chat. We have some people in chat who I know either are going through or have gone through long job searches, and it is demoralizing. Put in the effort to be building your network and put in work against it so you're at least getting calls or talking to people. As much as rejection in job search sucks, not getting calls back and not having the chance to interview sucks more. I did do a show about 2 months ago with a gentleman named Kevin who was looking for a job, and we celebrated the fact that Kevin did get a job on the stream. But in it, I give him some advice. Do a mock interview with some people and find out why you're getting rejected. In other words, you're probably getting rejected for a variety of reasons. Try to get real feedback. That's, by the way, another reason to network in if you can get introduced, then at least you can get real feedback. The worst type of rejection is send in a resume, HR says, oh, we'll call you, they never do, or they call you back and say, we went another direction. And look, every company, big company, is told, Luthon, thank you for following. Every big company, at a big company, I'm told, don't give any reason why we didn't hire. And the reason for that is they're terrified I will say something actionable. Actionable, like you can sue us. And so they coach managers, never give any reasons to anyone why you didn't hire. Just say, well, we went another direction. We're taking the search another direction. Which is, why is that? They're afraid that you might say something illegal. So, if you want real feedback, you have to get in from somebody who can get you real feedback. And that, again, is the value of networking. I will also say, and I'm sorry this isn't a direct answer to handling rejection, for all of you who are not currently being rejected, search for a job now. Yeah, basically I'm Rob. Trick the managers and sue them. Good luck with that. But what you do want to try and do is build a relationship, get an email address at the end, go direct to the person, try to have, again, HR will never tell you anything useful. You have to get to a real human behind HR. If you do get an interview somewhere, ask for people's emails so you can follow up with them. And then whether they hire you or not, just ask them for some honest feedback. Most people will give you honest feedback. They will ignore HR's advice. Even if they do it off the record, ask them if you can call them for 2 minutes to understand why you weren't a match. Sometimes they won't do it, but it's a good approach. Okay, let's roll to the next question. We only got a couple left. So if you do have questions, drop them into the Q&A widget, and then we'll wrap up the show when we're done with those. I do have a bunch of good announcements coming up here at the end, though. I would also point out a couple things you should look for. It's a ways in the future, but I'm going to do a show on August 21st. Oh, hey, thank you for the cheer, NetCurse. That's wonderful. I really appreciate that. Big cheer from NetCurse. Thank you very much. All of that goes to support the Washington Trails Association. Let's take a quick aside. We'll go over here and over here. Let's have some fun with this, actually. We'll see if we can have fun with it. All right. So we're going to turn this on over my face again. That's Washington Trails Association. And somewhere, I bet it's at the bottom. This is this is Washington, beautiful place. Come visit. Somewhere here, we should have our board. How about us? Mission and values. People, job opportunities, corporate partners. There we go, board. So I have a bio here. See, we'll show that when I say that donations actually support the Washington Trails Association, I'm not kidding. So let me see if I can blow this up a bit. All right, let's zoom this puppy. There we go. All right, sweet. So there I am and back. So I actually do, when I say I'm on the board of the Washington Trails Association, I really am. This is our last annual meeting. I'm in here somewhere. There we go. The green hat means I've actually worked on the trails for up to 5 days. In my case, it's exactly 5 days. But enough about that. When you donate, when you subscribe, everything ends up with WTA. And we're going to have the executive director of the WTA on the show to talk about working in the nonprofit sector in October. We're going to do a charity stream then. So it'll be a while, but you can learn more about the government and public sector then. Meanwhile, I'm going to do a show on August 21st. And that show will be about how to do what you want to do. If I'm donating to Twitch, can I write it off as a donation for a nonprofit? No, go donate directly to WTA. But I got the pog. I'm with it. A veritable rainbow of rain jackets. Yes, Pacific Northwest. That's our. Like it rains here like a tenth of an inch a day for like 200 days is how we do it. It's constant mist. The Christmas party for the board of directors. Yeah, something like that. All right. Back to the question. Enough of this messing around. Back to work, Ethan. Okay. What can you do to land an interview besides sending in a resume? So I've talked about network. So re-answering the question with network wouldn't be good. I've talked about what color is your parachute and the different ways to hunt for a job that are creative or different. I see Sean has jumped in and cheered. Sean has not got his staff badge on, but I'm pretty sure he's a new member of Twitch. So welcome to the broadcast. Good to see you. Okay. What else can you do that I haven't talked about? Let me think about that. Well, I guess the other thing you can do is match yourself to the company. So do some actual, we haven't talked about researching employers. To do this, and it's a big part of the book that I've referred to, What Color is Your Parachute? You have to know what it is you want to do. And the show I'm going to do on the 21st, long time from now, is about how to get to do what you want to do. But step one, which most people actually haven't thought about as much as you would believe, is figuring out what it is they're truly passionate about. Now, some people don't have the option. They need to take any job they can to get a roof over their head. But then once they have a job, they hang out in that job and just rot. They figure like, okay, now I've got a job. It's all good. By the way, NetCurse, thank you for the sub. Very much appreciate the support. They just hang out and they don't plan for the fact they'd like to get a better job. Oh, wow. All right. Twitch staff is on. So, what we're going to do, though, is match yourself to a company and find out more about them and start telling them how you've looked at their company and why you want to work there. So that's the kind of thing. That's the kind of thing that can get you in the door if you can say, hey, I've researched your company. This is why I'm interested. This is where I fit. I think my skills fit here. Don't make HR or the recruiter, because sometimes you do have to go through them, or even the person that you're asking, don't say, hey, I'm a user experience designer. Can you help me find a job? Instead, you do the work and say, I want to find this particular job. Solar in 2001, thank you again for the cheer. You're a big supporter tonight. I appreciate it. I love the bits usage, but you're absolutely right. I'll tell a quick story. I used to not work in the games industry. Few years ago, many years ago now, 10 years ago, Amazon bought its first game developer, and I went to work there, and I was confused because I had always been taught interview for talent and intelligence. Is the person smart, and do they have the right skills? They said, oh, no, we always interview for passion. The number one requirement is passion. And I couldn't figure out why. I'm like, what the hell use is that? You can't eat passion. You can't code with passion. But it turns out you can. I was just wrong. And what I learned is passion drives real performance. It drives the extra effort that makes the difference. If you care enough, you'll work harder. It's the same reason I do this stream, okay? Everybody watches it knows I'm a vice president at Amazon. I don't need to do this. I do it because I love it. And I love helping people, and I love seeing this stream grow, and I love hearing from people who got jobs or got promotions or whom I've helped. One of the people here in chat, Kristen, is going to be one of our guests later this week on our 2 shows this week. We're going to start long-term coaching of 2 different people. So we're going to do one tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Mugendra is Chief Product Officer of an offshore company based in Bangalore, India. And Kristen is from my home state of Ohio, and she's a product manager at a small Ohio startup, and she will be on at 8 p.m. Thursday, 8 p.m. Pacific. Later shows because I can't skip out of work every day to get home early. And we're going to start month by month coaching of both Mugendra and Kristen here on the show, where all of you can watch and see their issues and see what they're dealing with and how they're growing. But I love it when people grow. What can you do to land an interview besides sending in your resume? Have passion, match it to a company, tell them why. Don't chase a job, chase a career. Don't chase HR, chase getting into a company. That book I talked about, Rejection Proof, his final attempted rejection was he wanted to get his wife into a job at Google. And he and his wife teamed up to break her into Google over all objections and over all other candidates. If you want an inspiring story of what I'm talking about, go watch his final video in the 100 Days series, or go read the end of the book about getting a job in Google. All right, next question. And I'll check out chat while I finish off the last of the wine. This is the signal the show's almost over. So it's been good talking to you. We're going to answer a couple more and call it a night, because we'll be on both tomorrow at 8 p.m. with Mugendra, introducing him as Chief Product Officer, and we'll be on Thursday. But if you want me to answer other questions, vote them up. This is your last chance. And Kristen, thank you for the Twitch Prime sub. And welcome. Kristen is new to Twitch, so she's learning Twitch in order to be here. Her husband watches my good friend Devin Nash's channel, turned her on to this broadcast, and that's how I came to meet her. All right, here we go. I'm graduating come December. Could you describe your experience to get the first post-college job? Yes. At this point, I'm looking for something that's not related to my major. Okay, that seemed bad. So my network of professors and students doesn't seem like a big help. So first thing, I'm a I'm a big fan of Mike Rowe. On his point, if you know Mike Rowe, he does Dirty Jobs, and I guess he's the voiceover for Deadliest Catch. But his point was, don't go to college just to go to college. However, this person has already done that maybe, or they discovered something. My wife, for example, discovered when she went to college, she went as a chem major, and after a little while discovered she hated chemistry and did something else. Your professors and students aren't going to help, but you should have a career center. Here's the dirty secret about colleges that will save you. Colleges they all compete with each other on all kinds of things. And one of the things they compete on is their placement rate of graduates. So ride your college placement and career center like rented mules. Okay, they have to try to get you a job because it reflects poorly on them. All the parents and all the students coming after that want to know, 100% of people who go to Acme University get great jobs. Go to the Career Center, because if they can't say that, nobody pays for their college, or less people do, and they're less prestigious. And everything every university ever cared about was how prestigious they were. They also have another reason. They want, you paid a lot of money to join a big network. That is completely true, SkyPager. Look, you paid a lot of money to build that big network. The Career Center has to try and help you because they want you to be a very rich alumni so that one day you will build them a building. Believe me, I made the mistake of donating to my university. Um, and I get letters from them now once a month about all the things they want me to do for them that they wish I was making happen. Um, this is where they want you. So use that career center, go to the career fairs, figure out when the recruiters are coming, be up early, um, and get there. And thank you for the cheer. Um, tell Kyle to hydrate. I do need to tell Kyle to hydrate. Um, uh, I had a discussion on him with why he was one of the first people to join our Discord, and I had a discussion with him why he tells himself that he doesn't remember to hydrate. So everyone, feel free in chat to tell Kyle to hydrate because he likes it. You're looking out of major. You're going to have a good explanation for that. You're going to have a crisp explanation for why whatever you did. You're an engineering major, but you don't want to be an engineer. You're a history major, but you want to do something different. You need a good explanation that you've rehearsed and practiced so that you can tell it quickly. All right, moving on. We're going to take a couple more and call it good. Because I have to hop on with Kristen to get her prepared for later in the week. Okay, next question is, I work in a small/medium-sized software development company. I've climbed from the floor to now reporting to C-level. That's fantastic. Gonna have to scroll down here because the question hasn't popped up yet. But it will. Means one of the mods is distracted. But I work in a small software company, 15 to 20 employees under me in the past 4 to 5 years. I feel like I'm reaching the ceiling for my growth in the company, and I'm getting ready to move to a bigger... Let's see. All right. We're going to do our own maintenance here. There we go. I'm getting ready to move to a bigger company. My formal education doesn't match my acquired skills, but I have a great documented deliveries to show. Tips on how to get a foot in the door at larger orgs. Sure. Network. We've heard this all night, but I'm going to keep beating on it because that's the way to do it. However, write your resume to try to make those documented deliveries believable. Put them in terms that the new recruiter or person who gets your resume can see. The other thing is, and I'm asked this sometimes, never, ever, ever, ever quit your job before having another one, unless you're being beaten or abused. And even then, call a lawyer first. You want to be searching from a position of patience and power. So, if you think you're reaching your ceiling, start building your network now and start searching now, because it's easy to say, no, I guess I don't like that job that much. But if you really think you need to move and you want to move, you need to start searching now. So, and I see chat here talking about headhunters. Most headhunters are useless. And I would also say, I see it says education means less than experience. I also think that's true. Education, oh, I like the stay hydrated bot. That's funny. I have not done that, but I will. What you need to do is portray what you've learned in terms that are not specific to your company. I've done a whole show on resume review. We'll do another one in a little while, where a little while means later this fall, where we get people's resumes and we tune them up. We do it live on the show. We review them, but you can go to YouTube, find the resume review show. We have someone on there. I guarantee her career is, it's in the finance world, but it's going to be at least comparable to yours in experience. And we talk about how to represent that. The key is action words and not using jargon. There was someone else who sent me his resume. He was a military trainer and he had a bunch of acronyms on it. You've got to represent your experience in a way that people can follow. And then it's everything else we've talked about on the show. But make sure your resume is clear and that the accomplishments use action words. Not I was involved in, but I led, delivered, created, and how you did it. Okay, those are my best quick advice there. But yeah, work on it. Okay, we're going to take just one or two more questions. That went out a lot of votes. How do we get past the applicant tracking system? Is using white font for keywords good strategy to beat applicant tracking systems? So, I think applicant, like if you're trying to beat the applicant tracking system, I think you're probably already losing because you want to be going in through a real human. I have a friend who comes on the chat. He's clearly not here tonight, or he'd speak up. Goes by Akbla here. His name's Steve Day. He's been on before. And yeah, I'm sorry. I'll stop using the answer networking for everything, but you need to go in through real humans. Okay. What he found, he tried to optimize his resume and it got him nothing. But you can work the keywords. Look, it's like a game of, if you really want keywords in your resume, it's like a game of Mad Libs. Just figure out how to put them in what you've really done. And if you can't use your keyword in anything you've really done, then why is it in there? Did you actually do it? But have a really good LinkedIn. People will find you on LinkedIn. Applicant tracking systems, like applying for jobs, you apply for a job after someone is already interested in you. Most of the people I'm hiring, we're going out and finding on LinkedIn or through networking, or they're networking to us. Remember, employers look for you. And when they find you, we ask them, oh, hey, could you send us a resume and apply? And we send them a link. You want to be findable as well as trying to beat the applicant tracking system. I realize this probably sounds like very Pollyanna, like, hey, oh, that's great if you have a lot of people after you and you have a great career. But the truth is, trying to go in through the front door, the metaphysical front door is HR, is terrible. Any other door works better. And again, don't spend your time with white font. Spend your time reading the book and do some of the things in here. What Color is Your Parachute by Richard N. Bowles, 2019 edition. So we'll get it right in front of the camera, hopefully with not too much glare. There you go. Move my finger. All right. Oh boy. Next question. What to fill out in salary expectations in the online application form? So I've talked about this in other contexts. You don't have to fill out anything. Chad says 200K plus. Next question. You can fill out lots of different things. You can say competitive. You can put in what you want. You can leave it blank. You have lots of options here. But whatever you do, do not lowball yourself. Yeah, I guess there's some places where people will cut you out if you put in a big number. Dorino says up for discussion. There's so many things you can put here, but really, I'll tell you exactly why HR asks you this. They ask you so that they can offer you that and no more. I'll tell a story. When I first took a job at Amazon 14 years ago, it was a raise from where I was at. And I stupidly they called me and they had me interview, and I told them what I was making, and they offered me something just a little above it. What I learned after I was there is I was paid below the bottom end of my salary or my comp range for that job. So in other words, 14 years ago, I was a complete idiot when it came to this. So I've learned some things from that painful experience. And I said in the beginning of this stream, I want you guys to learn from my experiences. Do not give a low salary number. Now, second thing, go to salary.com and find out what the comp range is. If it's any kind of big company, the comp range is well known. And so you have an idea of what it could be. I also see Chad is saying it's now illegal in California to ask for your current salary. I am not a lawyer, but broadly, I think what Names Sam has said is accurate. Um, and so you don't have to answer that question, but more to the point, you want to know what to ask for when the time comes. What are you expecting? You can get them to give you an offer, but you want to be able to ask for more. You need knowledge. You need to do the research to try to find out what they're paying, because I worked for several years being paid below the bottom end of my comp range because I didn't know any better. And so I lost a lot of good money a long time ago, and a lot of Amazon stock when it was, go look up where it is now, when it was at 40 bucks a share. So yeah, not a good call. Okay, we're going to take one more and wrap it up. What do you recommend for people trying to get their first job in a new field? Software engineering, for example, after completing a non-traditional education program boot camp. So we've recommended a lot of different things. We've recommended a lot of different ideas. So I don't want to recover any of those. What I would say here, and I'll make a plug for my buddy Devin Nash. I think Devin did a video that's on his YouTube channel about when you should consider working for free. And about the only time to work for free is when you can't get paid, or when you want something more valuable than money. But if you want to change jobs, see if you can get some experience by interning somewhere. And I have hired some people. We had a guy wanted to come out of retirement. His story was, his name's Jed Roberts, if I recall correctly. This is 20 years ago in Boston. And he had written one of the first versions of the software, Dragon Naturally Speaking. After which his company was bought, and he was a young guy and had a lot of money, and he took 10 years off to learn French and to learn how to cook and to travel the world. And he woke up probably at close to 40 years old and said, holy shit, I'm out of money and I'm bored and I need a new job. So he needed to get a new job. And he came to us through a connection and he said, look, I'm rusty. I haven't programmed in a long time, but I can prove myself. Would you like take me on a 3-month contract? And you know, he was awesome. And so within a few weeks, we knew we wanted to hire him, but he came in and was willing to work for very little to prove himself with the chance. Yeah, so I see in here, we have links shut off in the chat to control it. If you want anything posted, just private message it to one of the mods. Shadow's normally on, and she'll vet it and post it. We welcome good content, so we're not trying to be exclusive. We're trying to keep control of the chat. And thank you for that. So that's one way to do it. Basically, you're gonna have to prove yourself. The other thing I would recommend is go someplace that's more of an IT shop. In other words, look, there's a hierarchy in any in any industry of the choosiest companies and the less picky companies. And go get a job at the less picky company if you need to prove yourself and get an initial resume line. But then when you're there, don't sit on your butt. Have a standing desk. No. In addition to having a standing desk, work your job search right away for the next place. And I don't think it's wrong to be always working on your next career move. Now, you don't want to be a mercenary. If you're somewhere you like, just stay there and enjoy it. Do good work. But if you're not somewhere you like, you're going to have to work to get out of it. So take a job, get another. And again, that's the story with this guy, Kevin, that you can find our video on YouTube, where I talked to Kevin on stream. I coached him. He got a job he doesn't love. And probably nobody, I can talk about this. You know, he's at a place, I won't totally out him, but he's at a place that isn't his long-term home, but he's going to do good work for them, build his resume, and then go somewhere else unless that job turns out to be better than he expected. So that's what I would recommend, is find your way into an entry-level job anywhere and then build your skills. All right, it's been a good show. I got to talk to Kristen here, so I'm going to wrap it up. I have a few end notes. First, thank you all for being here. It's been an awesome show. We got 80 viewers. You're going to accidentally get me partnered, actually, which will be fun when that happens. I'm sure staff will have a blast with that, because we have to average 75 viewers, and we've been doing that this whole show. So thank you all for that. Zup, I'm glad you're here. And I appreciate it, by the way. If you've enjoyed the content, please invite others. We grow through you telling others about the show. But we have 2 more shows this week, so running it down. We're going to have Mugendra, the Chief Product Officer of Exat, here tomorrow at 8 o'clock. And then we're going to have Kristen, who's in the chat right now. We're going to have her here Thursday, and we're going to introduce both of them and start long-term development of their careers. So you can show back up, see what they're working on, add your comments, and learn from what they're developing. Mugendra is trying to figure out how to lead change in his company, and he has a very unusual problem where they have more business coming into the company than they know how to deal with. Thanks, Solaran. That's great. We'll see what happens. The Easy Coach is a partner. We're going to do that. I picked 2 very different people for the coaching project, an American woman, an Indian man, someone earlier in her career, someone later in his career, so that you can see the whole, you can see 2 different phases of a career. I also know we have a lot of people who watch this show from around the world, and I wanted to pick someone who's not in the U.S. so you can see what issues are all over the globe. All right, what else? August 15th will be my next Q&A based broadcast. I'm going to talk about things I've screwed up and how I've recovered from them. So we're going to talk about failure and how to get back from them. And we'll also talk about one of the ideas I've come up with, very polysyllabic, called asymmetric consequences. And it's basically the idea that you can screw up something in an instant that will take you years to earn back out, but you can also do something right in an instant that will pay dividends for years. And we're going to talk about examples of both of those and how to try and stay out of jail. Sitting in Norway at 4:30 a.m. Yikes. Oh, and one more thing. For all of you who have stayed, this is important. Give me a sec. We're going to pull up the browser again. And where'd it go? I want to show the thank you page. These are 3 of the people who do a ton of work on my show. We may be adding someone else soon, but I want to thank the people who helped make this show possible. So my producer, Awesome Dave, I think he's busy working now at Sweetgreen and isn't in chat tonight. But Awesome Dave makes this all possible technically. Shadow Fox is our lead moderator and social media manager. She's incredible. She's here tonight. She always raids, or often raids, brings her audience along. But more than that, she was the first streamer I really got to know well and inspired me learning more about this, taught me how to stream well, and is still a big advisor. Set up the Discord. I said, yeah, I hear there's this thing I need called Discord. And she said, oh, yeah, I can set it all up. We'll keep the trolls out. So that was awesome. H. Racine here. She does all the YouTube work. This says podcast publisher. We're probably going to have someone else, Shivang, who's a big supporter of the stream and who's been on before, take over podcasting. But that's other places you can find back shows. So I just want to express my appreciation for all the people who make this show possible. Our great crew of moderators. Yep, T Weirdo's calling out 40 Pink Dragons. We have several other moderators in the channel. Matt 3.0, I appreciate the cheer. And these people are huge help. So with that, I'm going to sign off tonight. Thank you all for being here. And have a great night. Kristen, I will reach out to you in a few minutes for us to connect. All right. Hey, everybody. Oops. Can't wave goodbye this way. Get rid of that. All right. So, one thing. None of you played the hidden object game. We had a hidden object in the broadcast all night. Last time we got all these comments about the drawer being open behind me. Nobody commented on the hidden object game. I'm very disappointed. So next time, the hidden object will change. Okay, so with that, everyone have a good night, and I'll see you tomorrow, hopefully, or on the next broadcast. Cheers.